early, because we knew this was going to take.
Selectmen's meeting for September 17th, 6:30 PM. Select Board members Dee Dee, Fox, and Moglen in attendance with the CAO, Mr. Steinhardt.
Thank you, and welcome tonight's Select Board meeting for Tuesday, September 17th, 2019. Before we begin, I would like to talk about the passing of Dick Condren. Dick was a member of the Regional School Committee, elected member of the Regional School Committee. He also served on the Finance Committee and the Capital Expenditures Committee. And Dick was a character. I think we can all agree to that. I got to know him because of several issues, and he always started to call me Bob. He got confused, so I started calling him.
Yeah, Bob's a nice one.
I started calling Dickie Tom. So for several years now, I'd yell out to him at the post office, "How you doing, Tom?" And we just did that for several years. He was a good guy. It's going to be sadly, certainly missed.
He was on the Capcom with Joe and I.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. So if we could have a moment of silence for Dick, please. Thank you. All right, the first thing is public comments. It's for anyone that is not on the agenda that would like to make a statement to the Select Board. This would be your opportunity to do that. I ask if you do want to make a comment, you please stand and state your name and address. Is there anyone here at this time that would like to make a public comment? All right, then we're going to go right into convening the tax classification hearing. And well, let me read it first. Town of Southwick, notice of public hearing, Select Board tax classification fiscal 20. The Select Board will hold a public hearing on Tuesday, September 17th, 2019, 6:30 PM in the Select Board's conference room at Town Hall to decide whether or not all classes of property should be taxed at the same rate for fiscal 20. Interested taxpayers may present oral or written information on their views to Cindy Pendleton at southwickmass.net or mail to the Select Board office, 454 College Highway, Southwick, Mass. Russell S. Fox, Chairman, Doug Moglen, Vice Chairman, Joseph J. Dede, Select Board. Good evening. We have the Director of Assessments and,
Yes.
okay, and the Chairman of the Board of Assessors, Mr. Connolly.
I make the big bucks this year.
Oh, okay. The floor is yours as usual.
Thank you very much. We would like to recommend the residential rate of 1 for the tax factor. So effectively taxing residential, commercial property all at the same rate. No reason to change it.
Been that way forever.
Been that way forever. Trying to be friendly to industry or anybody else or any other business that wanted to move into town, so that is our recommendation to the Board of Selectmen.
Okay. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to make a comment concerning this classification? All right, coming from the board. Then I'll accept the motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. The hearing is closed. I need a motion to accept the recommendation of the Board of Assessors.
And that is to adopt the minimum residential factor of 1.
Correct.
What he said.
A motion's made.
I second.
Second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. Thank you very much.
We are very happy to oblige you. Gentlemen, have a sparkling night. We're off.
All right.
Let's do our appointed stuff. Thanks.
All right, thanks, Paul.
Yep. You are
Thanks,
quite
Sue.
welcome.
All right, we have a few minutes before we have an appointment with the Board of Appeals, so we can knock off some stuff here.
To do public comment?
Yes, we
Okay.
did. We did. For some reason, I moved that around, so
That's one.
we're all set on that. The 9/3/19 minutes are unavailable for this meeting. Apparently, we had a little technical problem, but they will be presented for the next meeting. And I don't believe we had any executive meeting.
No, they weren't.
Okay, so we're set on that.
So we got the warrants to read.
Okay, so we have payables warrant number 2007B dated 9/9/19 in the amount of $1,147,291.70. We have payroll warrant number 2006 dated 9/16/19 in the amount of $243,788.88. We have a specials payables warrant number 2008B dated 9/16/19 in the amount of $480. And as I said, the minutes will be at our next meeting, which is in 2 weeks, correct? Yep. All right. So we can go on to the action folder. And the first thing here is the employee/volunteer recognition picnic. Normally we try to have it in the summer. We don't have a lot of summertime left. What's the pleasure of the board? Normally they have it at noontime, hamburgers, hot dogs. They have it down in the community room.
If we can schedule it before the snow flies.
You wanna
Did we
just-
do it last year?
Yeah, we did it, and I
It was
think,
late, right?
I don't know, they
Fire
said,
department cooked or something.
yeah, I don't know, somebody said we might have skipped it last year, but
Last few years, we kind of skip it.
well,
Sandy, the
I-
maintenance people were down there doing this.
right, right, I think Bobby Johnson and
Yeah, his staff.
and
were
Carrie
down there helping
were cooking,
out. Right, so I
Right.
think we did do it last year.
right, I think we did too.
Yeah.
Do you wanna just let them set a time and a place for
Sounds like we
late
never make it.
September or early October?
Yes.
Okay. And Carl, if they could notify everybody that is employee volunteer / recognition thing. All right. 2A is a letter from David Gunn. David is respectfully resigning from the Southwick, Mass. Historical Commission. The commission is currently made up of David, Lee Hamburg, and Barbara Phelps. But David feels he doesn't have the time at this. It's been an honor that he served for the Historical Commission for the last 10
Yeah,
years.
he helped us with the old library.
Getting
process.
that
He was-
through.
He was at the site visits, he was working with me
Right.
and council on all the stuff that's going into the historical preservation restriction.
Okay, so a motion to accept his resignation.
Regretfully.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And,
You have-
oh, you got a certificate here?
Yeah, you're all set with that?
So why don't we sign a certificate of appreciation for David? Well, that's the, okay.
Thank you.
All right, the next 4A is concerning Franklin Regional Transit Authority. They gave me a call the other day, and I told them to follow up with a call to Carl,
And they did.
which they did. It's concerning our, who would be the appointed representative to the advisory board. And what we found out that it's either the chairman or the CAO, so I recommended it the CAO, and we
As
were
primary.
as the primary, and we were looking for an alternate member, And we had the chairman of the Council on Aging, Paul LeBlanc, step forward.
Right, because that's who usually goes up to the meeting, so.
Right.
So she has put her name in to address that task.
Right. So I would accept the motion for Paul LeBlanc to be the alternate member to the
It'll be
Franklin.
Both names, we gotta.
Both, okay.
So Carl Steinhardt and Paul LeBlanc.
Correct.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. All right, 5A is the job description, part-time board secretary.
Yep, that's the first. Council worked on this, and of course, this is in follow-up to your meeting with town council, where he wanted to make sure, in terms of how you were gonna have these duties, reflect the need to record and post the minutes, so that is reflected in here.
Okay,
So you can either review it and act on it this evening, because it is not a policy that takes a second reading, or you can review it and bring it back at a future meeting.
what's the pleasure of the board? Do you want to hold this off to our next meeting? Are you
It's up
comfortable?
to you. I'm good with it as it is.
I'm good.
Okay,
I just made one small change that I'll send to Carl to type it right.
okay. You want to make a motion then, Doug?
So moved as amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It's approved. Okay. Next thing I have is 6A. It's the approval of the parade permit. We need an approval of the parade permit for the second annual Southwick Farm Parade. This is something that Mr. Polverari started to help support the Polverari Southwick Animal Shelter. And he's working with the Southwick Civic Fund on this.
Oh, yeah.
So it's October 20th, 2 p.m. That'll be a Sunday. Rain date is October 27th. Parade begins at Coes Hill Road and ends at the Town Hall with an awards ceremony and a tractor display at Prifty Park. There's information that can be had off of going to the Southwick Civic Fund page.
Yep.
And there is a registration fee if you'd like to be in the parade. So, need a motion to approve the parade permit.
So moved.
I guess I'll second that.
I'll second
You
it.
second, thank
I'll
you.
second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I'll abstain.
One abstention. Okay, 7A is also an approval of parade permit, and this is from the VFW that organizes the Veterans Day Parade to be held on Monday, November 11th, 2019. It's the usual parade. It's going to start at the subway across from the Summer House and go to the town green. Lineup is going to begin at 10:15, and the parade is going to step off promptly at 11 a.m. and go to the Congregational Church of Town Green. So I need a motion to approve that.
I'll make that motion.
All right, second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. Okay, 8A is the job description for the local plumbing and / gas inspector. And these have all been approved by Labor Council?
Yeah, she may be, this is the wording that I worked out with the building inspector, and of course, you just brought the new person on within the last month or so. So they're gonna operate under this until Labor Council changes it,
Okay, okay. So do we?
because there was not one in place before.
Oh, okay. All right, so somebody like to make a motion to have this as our stand-in job description until Labor Council comes up with the new one?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye, it's unanimous. All right, then we have 9A is an intermunicipal agreement between the town of Southwick and the city of Westfield, and this is
there'll be
concerning
one-
sealer weights and measures.
Right, and there'll be one section of it that will end up being modified, which is around the section 9 on page 4, where, we're gonna be holding them harmless and indemnifying them, but they're also gonna be providing us with a workers' comp stuff, so that's gonna be amended tomorrow, and that was the input going back and forth with town council, so the board should be approving it subject to
The amendment?
by council, yeah.
Okay.
Because this is gonna go up to the mayor's office by the, tomorrow, and it's gonna be on the city council agenda for Thursday night.
Is this our document or their document?
They sent it, and our council had a version too.
So does this need to be executed in the interim because we're not meeting for 14 days?
No, you're authorizing to do it, so what we'll do is we will give you the amended one tomorrow.
Okay, so this has to come in inside.
Yeah.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Because, you have to have this, service in place to start doing these
Again, if I was gonna
inspections.
make a motion for the chair to sign, but
Yeah.
I get
No,
it.
they
I got it.
no.
Okay. And this is another example of regionalization, where it's gonna be beneficial to the town of Southwick's taxpayers, beneficial to the city of Westfield's taxpayers, and it's, people realizing those lines are just imaginary on maps. All right, 10A is a letter from our building department, Art Lawler, and he would like to amend the fees to keep them in line with the city of Westfield, and this is fees for weights and measures. And since we're going to be working with them, it's probably going to be beneficial that we keep all the fees in the same.
Yeah, you have to accrue these in a revolving account so that you can pay the bill that will come from the city.
All right.
So this will make sure that we're covering our costs, because we were between the costs of the agreement and our sticker costs and the other supplies that we have to supply,
Yep.
so this will ensure that we'll cover the cost.
So the increases are just covering any increase in cost, and
To
that's,
run the program.
that's what fees are about, just to cover the cost, not to add another burden. So I need a motion to approve the recommended fee schedule by the building department.
So moved.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. All right, 11A is a letter from Ty and Bond, no, it's a letter, yes, Ty and Bond to Randy Brown. This is scope of services.
Yep, it was signed off by the Water Commission, and now the selectmen have to sign to the right of the Water Commission is on page 4, because the selectmen are the signing authority for the town for contracts. So if you will make the motion, and this is for the construction oversight project for your water line project.
That's ongoing right now.
Right.
Okay, so this is all funds that would be paid through the water users.
Yep, these are all part of those bond issues,
Okay,
that you have temporary borrowings out, that we're gonna be having a permanent borrowing
okay,
in the middle of December, we'll be going out to the market.
okay.
This was all part of the pricing of the package anyway.
This is,
Yep.
this is the original?
No,
Probably
they
in
did
your
not
action
supply
plan.
an original,
Okay,
but I believe Time Bond has that.
all right, so, motion to approve signing,
So moved.
Right,
second?
So this cost was already in that package of the price?
yeah, oh yeah, this
Yes,
is.
okay.
Right.
So this isn't new. All right, I'll second
Don't
that.
forget, you had actually two borrowing authorizations. One is for the water line, and then one was an amended one for the sewer pump stations, because you changed.
Yep.
The sewer pump stations, you went from 2 down to 1, and then you resituated it up near the tool and die place.
Yes.
Okay.
And you have to remove the old one.
This
Oh,
is
yeah.
April, back from April, so this
Yeah.
is pretty much formality because the water commissioners had already.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So we got a motion
Something
made
town
and
of
seconded,
Pelham
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. You want to sign that, Doug? Please. Thank you. Joe? Okay. All right, the next thing I have is from Lynn Blair, who we just met tonight, the new director of the Southwick Public Library. The individual that we had voted to, for the vacant children's library position, I guess went to another place of employment. So we have another recommendation, Paige Phillips, to fill that vacant children's library position. It's an 18-hour per week, non-benefited position. of $16.94 an hour.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. I think we're close enough to 6:50, and you guys have been waiting there very patiently, so why don't you come on up to the table?
And they're done that. Evening, folks.
All right.
I know. My ugly mug. How you doing?
Good.
Good.
And just that he wanted the library.
I know.
All right. I filled the board in. I think that I met with the, just in time. Met with the Board of Appeals at 2 meetings ago, and then again at their last meeting. And we came back and discussed how they would like to have Mr. Gregoire back on the board. They didn't feel that they were really ready to take over that board without his guidance. So I think one of the things was that Mr. Parent went from being a full member to an associate, right? And we took that vote already. And then Dave Methy said that he would be willing to step down from the board completely to create an opening. But he is stepping down as an associate. So if the board would like Mr. Gregoire back as a full member, so
Russ, just to clarify, if that's necessary to meet the interpretation of the bylaw for the number of members on our board, then I will be willing and happy to do that.
yeah. And we did get that clarification from town council. He did make his ruling, so it is a 5-member board, 3 full, 2 associates. So you would need to step down. You're still in agreement to that if the board should go that way. And then Mr. Stapleton has agreed to become an associate member if the board agreed to that. That would leave an open position as a full member. Did I explain it correctly?
I understood it.
Okay. So that's what they are advocating. And I advocated certain things that I knew that I thought the board would be interested in. Number one, that there would be a training seminar with town council, that the board would organize. I suggested having a vice chairman. By statute, you've got to have a clerk. So they would reorganize the board. And that we also would like to see the board working with town council like in the past, that when they're making decisions, that town council is used and available. So, is that correct? All right. So, I asked these gentlemen to be here tonight in case this board had any questions, thoughts, before we take a vote to agree to making those changes.
Let me throw in one piece of the puzzle.
Okay.
It's not consequential, but Mike Parent was changed from full member to associate member, and I was appointed from associate member to full member.
Correct.
Chris Mastriani.
Yep,
Just-
right.
Just to get
Thank you, Chris.
all the players on
Yeah.
on the record.
It
So
got a little confusing there, and I was going by memory,
I'll
you
get all the
know.
X's and O's.
Right.
And
Things, a lot of moving pieces.
on the teams. Okay.
Right.
That's fine.
So in the end, it's 3 full-time members and 2 associates.
Correct.
Okay.
That was what we proposed when we spoke
Right.
to Russ the last time, or combining of his two meetings with us.
Yep, yep. And at this point, neither of you want to be chairman? Or, I mean, I would like to make, that. I hear you loud and clear. But I also want to see that, just like with us, that the chairman switches. You know what I mean? And he's done a great job, but the problem I don't think he created, but the problem is that no one has stepped up to be chairman. And now that there's a little shakeup, everybody's like, "Well, wait a minute, hey."
Well,
And I get it,
Can
and I
make a
do get
comment
it.
about that?
Yeah, yeah.
It's a good lead-in.
No, no, I'm just, right, but that's,
If I go back in history,
yeah,
not too long ago,
right.
Mr. Moglen was the chairman of the planning board for almost 4 years. Before he was elected selectman, there was no change in the planning board.
Well, I'm disappointed to hear that.
It's facts.
Personally.
Am I wrong? No. Okay. So you elect a chairman every year,
Right,
and you were reelected,
yeah.
and nobody argued that.
No,
Apparently
but what
not.
we did do, Bill, was, it's, first of all, it's an elected board. Secondly, it was, and the chair every year called for nominations for chair.
Right.
Right. The other thing that we did do was we did delegate different responsibilities amongst other members of the board. So when there
Okay.
was projects in front of a board, that person became the point person, whether it was a bylaw subcommittee or a project. You also had the availability of a full-time, well, part-time town planner and a secretary to the board.
Okay.
So I get what you're saying.
One point, but there's other boards that haven't changed either. Finance committee hasn't changed in a while, chairman still.
Well, they did change this past year.
Okay.
Yeah, finally. But same discussion that
Okay.
been had. Yeah,
But to that point, I guess on our board, when things come up, whether it's a property view or like in Chris's side, he'll do a lot of the research. So we do appoint some stuff to kind of backfill and help with that. So when we're talking about making decisions, we've got some good data. So we kind of share in that role, almost pseudo chairman without taking, I think the part of the responsibility is one, when Tom was working, I'm working, Chris came on as a new member, he wasn't really a full member, he was always associate.
right.
Dave, life was busy, so nobody could say, oh, I have the time to take those calls at 3 in the afternoon to go see a where Paul was the retired, no offense.
Lucky.
You know, that could able to do that backfill because there were responsibilities that would come up that really weren't gonna be filled that easily with somebody else. And I think that's part of the angst of stepping up. Not that we don't wanna learn it and do it, I think we all have a good understanding of what the board does, what our responsibilities are. And quite frankly, I think pragmatically in how we go approach, we are one of the better boards in town that we come to decision as a group. And we'll fight each other or, question, and that's where council could be helpful at times, I think, because we're not attorneys. And we agreed with that wholeheartedly, I think it was the fact that council's available, it really wasn't made clear that we're not paying for it. So we don't
Well-
want to, we didn't want to bring in council, because we had a couple issues where council comes in, now there's another fee. So like, if something that we can handle, we don't want to involve council, that's not a sticky wicket. If it is, then I think our conscience would say we need to refer to attorney, which we've done before, to get legal advice. But that's my 2 cents on that anyway, so. But I heard the request on clear, I think as a board, we'd agreed that we'd look at reorganizing that, coming up with and do that. Somebody would take the clerk, have a vice chair, and then, rotate the chairmanship.
I don't think
As
it
a step
hurts.
forward.
I don't think it hurts.
No, it's a step forward.
And
I agree.
And
I think that's
yes,
progressive versus.
Things can still fall on someone that's retired, understood. But it
Well, now it
just,
can be Tom.
Tom's retired. You're
I
retired.
know, yeah, see, that's, he snakes out, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And just so other comment to this whole thing of the shakeup, it's frustrating for me, and Dave is in a position somewhat like myself, with young kids and a lot of activities, probably because he's got more kids. He's got more activities, so he's been very, very absent, and he's, taking that role of saying, I'll step down.
sure.
But Mr. Parent's in the same boat, but he doesn't have all of that, but he's never there. And I mentioned it to you.
Yeah.
I just got an email tonight, he can't make this meeting.
Yeah.
So as an associate, that doesn't help us.
No,
Because if you're not there, you're not hearing the cases, you're not.
right.
So if we shift the chairmanship and all that, then you gotta rely on associates to help. So my recommendation with that is, have a conversation with Mike to say, do you really wanna do this? And we find somebody else that can be an associate that'll be there as associate, learn the process and be able to come up to a member. So, I made that, I
Agreed.
might not make that recommendation, you guys think about that, maybe somebody has a
Yeah.
conversation with Mike about that. And maybe the chairperson could do that, or temporary,
Acting chair, that's
acting
correct.
chair.
So I.
Because I think that, it's fair to this board that we all are busy.
Yep.
And if somebody wants to be an associate to learn the process, and for Tom to step down to that, I don't think is correct. But I know why, and he knows why, so we agree that Paul's experience is still needed to help with the torch. So he's gonna make that move, but I think having another associate to support Tom isn't there at this point.
No, it's not.
So that's my 2 cents. So in that sense, if we were gonna make a change, I thought back and said, well, Mike was the last one that was on the board.
Right.
Should have been taken off, or Dave
Right.
had a choice
And-
instead, and then
but
reshuffle what we had.
Realistically, you're very busy with the kids anyways.
Yes.
Not that,
No,
No,
I'm
but
I'm
just-
being
yeah.
honest, and I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
David was being honest.
Yeah.
And he was being very fair.
Yeah.
But again, I think he's taken the fall where Mike should have been that,
No,
the
I
first
agree.
one to have that conversation.
Right.
Personally. But we're here now, and we can deal with it going forward, I think, as a
Right, I think we.
point of work in process, you know what I mean? To
We've,
figure
yeah, we've
that out.
accepted our new roles and in some ways a little begrudgingly, but nonetheless, we work as a team and we're gonna take this as a team going forward, which leads to my 2 cents. I think it's unfortunate that this conversation was had in the manner it was. And I think that this board, as Bill pointed out a minute ago, does, well, my words, would be an exemplary job listening to the citizens that come in front of us, working with all the diligence that we can muster to come to a reasonable solution, like the problem we have with the guys down in the grow house. You know, we worked really, really hard, came to a very good solution. That's what we do. And I thought it was a little bit unneeded that our board is shuffled in absence of any of our input. And I would like, as you were telling us how we should go forward, I would make the same request to your board going forward. If you want to make changes, or you see things about our board you think we should address, please bring it to us and let us weigh in and give you our insight so we can make a unified town decision as opposed to one board dictating and mandating another. I know you guys are the top dogs, but regardless, we run a really good team. and we
Demand
like-
respect.
Well, yeah.
oh, okay, okay. Oh, I'll give you respect.
RACP.
So going forward, I would
I
make
hear you.
that
Yeah.
request.
No, and I think I explained to you that the process that we started to implement last year was that, and because we got a message at
Right.
town
Everyone
meeting
got a message.
that we were just reappointing people, the same people constantly, and new people couldn't come in, couldn't get involved, things like that. So we saw what other communities were trying to do, and that was sending out a letter
Right.
to everybody that's up for appointment
Right.
to please reapply and tell us why.
Agreed.
What you've accomplished and
Yeah, yeah.
why you want to do
That
it.
worked out well. We
But-
got every secretary to do one letter, photocopy it, and change the name on it.
Right,
So that was impressive as
so
well.
what we're going to do
Yeah, that was
this
that-
year.
My fault, though. I guess we didn't.
You weren't clear?
Apparently not. Apparently we were not clear, and I'm not complaining.
Okay, so-
we did
so-
get letters back, so that's a good.
So in
news.
that instance,
Right,
Yeah.
if you're on this board, you have an address.
right.
It should go to the individual.
Well, that's why
Bring it in.
Mr. Moglin has taken it upon himself
Oh.
that in January, he
You know,
will,
he doesn't look like he knows about this.
he will be,
I do. Believe me,
Yeah.
Bill, I do.
he is going to be personally
I'll hand
going
deliver
to
yours.
every single
Fine.
board that we appoint
Okay.
and explain to them in great
The
detail
process.
the process. And that if they do not follow the process,
You're automatically
we will be
admitted.
looking for
Right.
new blood.
I
Well,
got it.
because we would have got letters from you guys. You would have nicely said, "Hey, I love what I'm doing. The kids are torturing me, and that's the style, and that's the price I pay to have children, and that's what I'm really busy
Wow,
with
that's,
now."
I mean, I don't
We
know
would
about
have
torture,
had
Joe,
we would
but
have had a letter from the guy that's not here tonight
Right.
saying, "I'm sorry, I can't make
I don't
I
think
can't
you-
make that
yeah.
discussion, even
Okay.
talk about the letter because I'm not here. I'm doing this or I'm doing that," and then we would have heard that loud and clear. That we have a guy on the
So-
board that doesn't
but
want to be
that-
there.
But that's, I don't know if he wants, I'm saying it's.
Well, that's
not.
my opinion,
It's-
of
It's
course.
not there, so, I
Right.
mean, it's just
Right.
glaring, you know?
Yeah.
But I think going forward, that process is healthy.
I
For
think
sure.
it is. I think it is.
I mean, you know.
At least
Some
we can
people
say
may
to
feel they have that,
people,
you know,
right,
they, you know, have to do it for the.
right. We can at
You gotta
least
be
say
able
to
to
the
move on.
public,
Yeah.
this is, we're trying,
Here's our system.
all right? But
Right.
it's not just Southwick. Every
agree.
community is going through this.
I agree.
Every community, every organization is going through this.
It's change management. for
It's,
us.
it's,
you know, so-
people aren't stepping forward like they used
I
to.
agree.
And,
And we're still not.
and, you know,
Since we got one or two letters.
It's hard, I know.
Yeah.
so,
But, well, I appreciate the feedback on that, and we'll certainly, yeah, our board's gonna take advice from that, you'll see that.
we appreciate
That's how
that.
we
Okay.
are. Okay?
All right,
So anyway,
so,
that's, I think for comment, unless you got something,
No,
You wanna
I,
add to that,
I,
Counselor?
well, I can add something. Thank you for making me full member.
finally.
Don't thank us
I
yet.
wasn't gonna say that. I wasn't gonna say that. But just,
Care what you ask for.
I hope that if this is the meeting to approve this reset of the Board of Appeals, I think that as we propose it is the correct solution, because we were not really prepared. We didn't have a line of succession in place, which is an error, and it was the reason we didn't is because it didn't seem to be a need to. Everything was running smoothly. Paul says, yeah, I want to be chairman, and we all voted on it once a year, and it went on. And as far as the preference of the town for this rotating, it all makes sense, and I'm sure that going forward, we will do that and cross-train and have people ready to step in, so.
We appreciate that.
I hope that you kind of undo the surprise that you threw at us and get us back on an even keel, and then we'll work to meet these requirements that you're going to suggestions that you're going to require, one of those two.
Okay.
So, thank you for,
All right, so
reconsidering.
I'm going to try to word this and see if we have a motion. The motion would be, one, to accept the resignation of David Methy.
Which I can submit, now on my phone if you want, or I can put it in a paper.
That's okay. We'll
Take a
take
selfie
it.
If
and
you
email
need
it.
that
That's-
in
that-
advance
that's a
to
vote.
vote on it.
So that would open up an associate's position. Mr. Stapleton would move to an associate's position from the full member. And Mr. Gregoire would come back as a full member. So that would be the motion I would be looking for.
Mr. Chairman, I appreciate you stepping forward to do that. I'll make that motion.
I need a second.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
I'll
right.
second that.
So we have a motion made and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Okay. So
We'll notify the clerks.
notify the clerk's office, and I think I mentioned to you, we have that new software program we're gonna be implementing this year, which should help alleviate a lot of
Have you ever
confusion.
implemented new software?
And Dave, you can
What?
follow.
Have you ever implemented new software?
Yeah.
Hopefully, this is an easy one, Bill.
2020. Yeah, I hear you.
You resignate.
When is
you
your
resign
next
to the
meeting?
appointing of our elected people, resign to the
Great.
town clerk.
Okay,
Next Monday.
Okay,
So send it to.
thank you,
I'll do that, yeah, thanks.
thank you.
And I would like to acknowledge the work that this gentleman's
Yeah.
done for 17 years,
16 plus, I
a
guess.
long
Yes.
time.
That's
And
a
I know
long
he's in
time.
Same day as Paul. yeah.
But there was a great value here because he, like Paul, had a lot of history that the other three, the rest of us did not regarding his town. And so it's a big loss to our group, even though his
And I
attendance
agree
was
with
not
that, yeah.
thorough, but he showed up a lot, he brought a lot of knowledge in, and often a perspective that was missing from this group, for me in particular, is the business aspect. He was very cognizant of the needs of the town, and that was always a valuable perspective that I think we're gonna be missing. So it's unfortunate that you're leaving us, but,
Thanks,
there.
Tom.
You're welcome.
All right, gentlemen, we thank you very much.
Okay.
David, thank you. How you
Thank
making
you.
out on that other issue?
Slow going, and I need to follow up with her. I think she kind of looked at it and said,
Just don't like the flare.
fine, no problem here, and I don't know if she appreciates the nuances of
Thank you.
the traffic pattern and
Yep.
the grade and so forth. So
Yeah.
I want to kind of get back to her and maybe circle back to the school committee.
Okay.
Yeah. But thank you for
Yeah.
your interest and your support, I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
and Chief Bishop said he would follow up too,
Okay.
if there's a
Yeah.
meeting scheduled.
Yeah, so I appreciate
You
that.
know. All right, David,
All
thank
right.
you. David, thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you, yeah.
All right.
Well, it's the right time anyway, and I had thought about it, and that I am still coaching basketball and baseball, believe it or not. So remember those days, Doug?
I do.
It'll be
over faster
way
than
back.
you know.
I know
I
you're
know.
right. Yeah. So I'm enjoying it while I still can, but it's been a pleasure. Like it sounds like a cliche, and this is what I'll put in the email to you, Carl. But it's been a real pleasure, and I have a lot of fun meeting with these guys, and serving the community has been a real honor for me.
Well, thank you.
And
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right. We are back to, let's see, what do we got here? A bidding in contracts. we need to, emergency waiver?
Planning board, I think I took 3 phone calls from that board. It's the time I was on. Why? Because the vice chairman was adequately trained, stepped into that role.
Understood.
Sorry.
Bidding and contracts, emergency waiver,
Yeah, that was for your lightning hit
okay.
in August, so that's the finance committee took their vote last night.
They took their vote, so we can take our vote.
Chapter 80, section 2, where.
Chapter 8.
Chapter 8,
dash
I was close.
Section 2 of the town code.
Emergency waiver,
Did the
Right.
insurance cover the?
Yes,
or
they
no?
are,
right.
Oh, okay.
including the fire watches.
Oh, those fire watches.
All right, and this is to repair damages done by a lightning strike and
On
being
the fire
covered.
alarm panel,
The fire alarm panel,
our
covered
generator panel,
generator
our roof
panel,
ventilation units.
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
And you should go out and look at the scars on the trees. On the other side. You would see it come all the way down the tree.
Well, we'll have to get an arborist to look at that too. So you made a motion?
I'll make a motion for the waiver under chapter 8-2, section 8-2.
Yeah, I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. All right, Ms. Moglen, I need you to make this motion if you could, please.
I, Doug Moglen, move that the release and settlement agreement regarding the pending litigation known as Dabrowski versus Town of Southwick et al., U.S. District Court Civil Action Number 319 CV 30035-KAR be approved in its entirety, and that Russell Fox, as chairman of the select board for the Town of Southwick, be authorized to execute the release and settlement agreement on behalf of the Town of Southwick and take any other action as may be required to effectuate the terms of the settlement agreement.
Made that as motion, I need a second.
You can second that.
I will second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So you just need it to pass, right? So 2 ayes will pass it because it's a no from me. No one can keep my mouth shut.
All right,
I just,
Let's-
I would be saying,
3 weeks.
3 weeks, okay. By me saying yes to that, I'd be a conflict because I'm gonna open my mouth and say something stupid, so I'm gonna go with a no on that, and I'm not gonna abstain. And you two can pass it. It's all good. Yeah, it's good. I know myself.
I understand that, but in open session, you do realize that you're still bound to this, to the agreement.
Whatever, I feel better about myself.
I'm just making sure. I don't want to be back here in 3 years.
It'll be 2, but anyways, yeah.
all right, moving right along.
There's an attorney present.
I get it.
Moving right along.
Nobody backs me in the corner.
Okay. Oh, this is from Dana Roscoe, just, this is FYI on
Well,
the-
that'll be under our old business, Russ, when we're talking about the transportation.
Oh, okay.
We're still on the first page.
Okay.
Unless you're ready to go on to
Nope,
that.
we're ready to go on to old business. So the first
Okay.
thing is the update of, Mr. Steinhardt and I have met with the Council on Aging twice. The last time we had, Pioneer Valley Planning Commission was there, and also a representative from Pioneer, PVTA,
The director,
the director.
the boss.
And we met with them jointly with the Council on Aging, who agreed to review our transportation needs. And it was quite interesting. We learned that there has been legislation passed that you can belong to 2 different authorities.
Regional transit.
Regional
authorities.
transit
We're not aware of
authorities.
that.
Wow.
So we're just in the beginning stages, but we're looking at different services that might be considered being added to the town of Southwick. That would be provided by PVTA.
Right, and it would be the same, the mechanism would be the same, it still comes through as a single assessment on the cherry sheet, even if it's 2 RTAs.
Right.
And we certainly can supply you with all the information, you know. The way it's structured now is federal funds apply against your assessment, state funds, and then you have the balance is what you pay, and it's always in arrears, it's like a year behind. So you do that now with Humes, and if you make any changes with this, you'd be doing it, you know, of course, there'd be an increase in the price no matter what you work on.
Right. So,
that is being worked on.
okay, so this is just at the beginning stages, no decisions have been made.
No, because this was Dana's input to us, Russ, and you know, of course, I asked Sandy
From
to give us
PVTA,
her
right,
information.
right. And unfortunately, Franklin Regional Transit, that individual was sick that day, they did not attend, so we still need to meet with them, keep everybody in the loop. But I think the Council on Aging was receptive to the fact that there might be additional services
Right.
reasonable.
They act as the lead agency on this service area for the.
Right. And just a footnote that, you know, one of their concerns, I think, Council on Aging, was we currently book all the rides ourselves. This program with PVTA, they book them.
Right.
So it would be a case where there wouldn't be an additional
Extra workload on the staff.
workload on our staff. You know, so it is very interesting. Again, we're just at the beginning stages, FYI.
Great.
Next thing is the special municipal employees. We've met with council on this. We've looked at different things and digested different things. And my general thoughts, having kicked this around, is I don't think we need to designate any board a special municipal employee.
And that would be from what, registers down, because you still need them for the fire.
Right,
and
right,
EMTs and those
right,
others.
right,
This board is automatically, right?
correct,
Right, until 10,000, and then you can't ever be designated.
right. But I'm just looking at this, that, you know, that we all have to take ethics tests every 2 years. People are elected, appointed. I think they're been educated enough to realize if they need to take certain actions, they need to take those actions. I think this would help with transparency, and that would be my recommendation to the board.
I'm fine with that.
No objection.
Somebody
So
make
just figure out which ones you want to remove here and make a note of it, or
I- I'm just-
consider it for another meeting.
I'm removing the boards that we mentioned.
So these ones right here, CPC all the way through here.
Right.
Okay, and then the other thing you're gonna wanna change is under plumbing inspector. Ilya is not in that role anymore, so I believe is it Steve?
No, it's Stanley,
Or
Stanley
Stan.
Roscoe?
right.
So you'd wanna insert that name there.
All right,
And because, you know, your other wiring inspector is a city of Westfield employee, so there's not an issue with that.
okay,
And the building inspector, so these other ones are good below it.
yep. All right, so I need somebody to make that in the form of a motion.
Well, what about,
That's what I'm talking about, transparency, that let people take care of them, the issues, you know, by the processes available.
Individually, like the Board of Health person did that.
but
Right,
I thought what the lawyer said was if you cannot have one member of a board be an SME, it has to be the entire board.
So you must designate the entire board, yeah, to have that status, otherwise it's a one-off.
right.
And you can't do that. You cannot do that.
No, I
I think
think
individuals can,
individuals,
can't designate the whole board,
right.
but we can clarify that with them if you want.
Yeah, we can
Maybe I
clarify.
misunderstood what he said. I thought you can't have a member of a board be a special municipal employee.
They're
You
not
have to
eligible.
designate the board as special municipal
Right, they
employees.
wouldn't be special municipal, but that doesn't mean they can't have an exemption separately.
Right. In other words, we're saying get rid of any special municipality for the boards and let people handle it individually.
I think we're talking the same thing, but okay.
Right. How do-
How about we have Doug, you wanna clarify your question with Ben,
Yes.
and then we'll
Okay.
bring this up next week.
You got it.
All right.
Is that good with you, Joe?
Oh, absolutely.
All right.
Doug's
All right.
happy, we're all happy.
All right. Next thing I have
Does that
is,
work? I'm not happy until you're not happy, or
Yeah.
something like that, right?
okay, goals and objectives.
That's only for Board of Appeals.
do we need to go over these all tonight, Carl, or?
We'll push them off again.
Thanks.
If you want to, I mean, I had the ones I was gonna, I have mine that I'm gonna add to them, but I don't need to do it through a board meeting this year.
Okay.
But we do need to get them
We
done.
will do it at our next meeting. Is that fair? Because you're gonna
Wait
be,
till the next chairman, but yeah, all right.
all right, Doug, is that okay?
Whatever.
All right.
Yeah, next meeting is in 2 weeks, right? It's October.
Right,
Yeah. we'll be
okay. All right. All right, and the same with the select board goals.
I did update the sheet
Yeah, it's
after our
updated.
last
It's
meeting.
updated,
Yep.
and we can digest that,
good. Sure.
okay?
So
So
you
next-
can review, I mean, we did put down the transportation service issue that you had talked about last time. We have the volunteer opportunities and reappointments, so Doug's on there. So the RFP is out for the masonry and the roof repairs for the fire station. So all the things that you had talked about in your previous meetings are now reflected,
Okay,
okay?
all right, so we're good, any other old business?
I believe you were gonna speak to the chairman of the Board of Health and the Finance Committee about the inspector.
All right, I did speak to.
The what, did you say? The what?
The inspector?
Oh, inspector.
All
I
right,
thought you
so
said
I did
something
reach
else.
out to Dr. Asia before he left on his trip. He'll be gone for about a month. So he said if need be, we could talk to the other members. I did reach out to the chairman of the finance committee. There seemed to be a consensus, since we couldn't find anybody for a part-time position, that we would be open to looking at the position as a full-time. Some of my discussions with the CAO and others, we started to do a little brainstorming so that, these extra hours, maybe there were some
Extra duties.
duties that could also help, that are related to the Board of Health, also help the town with other issues. And the CAO began to make up a list of possible things. So I thought that was a good idea. I think the Finance Committee thinks it's a good idea. So now I think we should reach out to, if Dr. Asia is here, I guess it's Jeannie or Sue, to see if we can't have some sort of dialogue with them.
Right, I think the board should designate the chair and myself to meet with the Board of Health designee and work on the job description amendments.
Sure.
And then eventually
That's fine.
Kim would edit the document and reflect those.
Yep.
Doug?
No objection.
All right.
I thought we were gonna get stuck doing it, so this is even better, yeah. I did, I'm like, oh boy, which one of us is getting that job?
All right.
So you then a form of a motion, or we all said that?
We're all set on that, I think.
All right, beautiful.
I don't think we need a motion.
All right, great.
Okay, any other old business? Okay. New business.
I believe you have a document there about upcoming award announcements for community development block grant.
I do. We received this. We are cordially invited to join Governor Charlie Baker and Secretary Mike Keneally,
Doug knows them.
Yes.
and Undersecretary Janelle Chan for a community development block grant. That's a CDBG program award announcement on Friday, September 20th, 2019, 3 p.m. in Methuen, Massachusetts. So I would anticipate that if we're being invited to a program award, that perhaps the town of Southwick is getting some sort of award. And I know that Mr. Deedy has been very successful working with Pioneer Valley Planning Commission over the years on the
Yeah.
CDBG.
We've done a great job. yeah.
and achieved a lot of things
We
for the
have.
town of
He's
Southwick.
not going to Methuen if that's all.
But
But Mr. Deedy, I believe, will be at the Eastern States Exposition, and I'll probably see Charlie there, just so you know.
he's coming the 19th.
See, so I'm all set. I'll have my fullness of Charlie.
Could you thank him on the 19th?
When he walks by in a parade, I will.
Okay, thank you. I don't know if we'll be able to have a member attend, but I think this obviously is going to be great news for the town of Southwick. So, but we don't
Well, that
know.
all,
We
honestly,
don't know what's coming.
that all goes back to the gentleman over at,
Pioneer Valley, Jim Mazik.
Jim Mazik.
The old guy that's
The
retiring.
old guy that's
And
retiring.
Erica.
Yeah, but Jim is the reason we had gotten a lot, he is extremely helpful, and he's done a great job.
Jim has been there longer than I've been here, and he's worked.
And that is a
across the
long
board.
I remember when he started out,
was
when he was
newspaper
the
boy.
rookie.
Yeah.
You know, and now here he
But-
is, the top dog.
That's the guy that you gotta
That's when
thank.
Russ was the youngest member.
All right, enough of that. Okay, other new business is I'd like to make sure that everyone is aware of the open space plan that is being worked on. We started last May, or May of 2018, and we thought that we were nearing completion. But unfortunately, the Commonwealth threw a couple of curves at us, like every other community. And we want to make sure this open space plan is something that is a good roadmap for different boards to follow. So we have achieved some good things. One of the good things is working with Cartographics, who also does the mapping for our Board of Assessors and has done mapping for some other boards. We have now have an open space legend map that can be updated when they update all the maps for the assessors and the other boards.
Oh, so it's a
So-
layer in our GIS now?
Right,
Nice.
right. So I thought this was money well spent. And these monies came out of community preservation, their administrative costs. Which, because if we don't do the open space, obviously we can't apply for grants, and community preservation being one of the bigger ones. So it's an ongoing process. We have planning board represented, we have park and rec representative, we have private commercial people representative, EDC. We have community preservation representative, we have the select board representative, so we've had surveys that went out, I think were very interesting. We got a good result, a good return on our surveys. We've conducted public hearings with boards and commissions. We've had public hearings with the public. And I think the one with the public was very well attended. The room was full, and there was a lot of good discussion and some good ideas that came out of it. So, again, this is part of the process of having this open discussion in front of the select board to make sure that you're all on board with this process, that you feel that it's going well, and that if there was any questions that you feel they've been addressed, that everybody has had the opportunity to have input on this process so far.
And as the chairman said, this is to update this document here. Okay, they're usually good for 7 years under the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. There's a certain agency that goes through the process of approving them, and again, you must have them approved and in place so that you can qualify to apply for and receive different types of state.
That's wetlands. Actually, that was the tea I spilled this morning, in the truck.
It's a new wetlands.
That's why
Yeah, the dog was
I gave
getting
Hope the
jumpy.
one that's not stained. Okay, she's got a clean one.
So you got a clean one?
She'll spill her own coffee. Or the
But,
kids' one.
are there any
Is that the
comments?
aquifer?
No,
That's not the aquifer.
Any comments from the
I
board?
participated in the last one. It's a big project because there's a lot of stakeholders in that, and it's a good product when it's done.
It is, and hopefully it'll be done soon. We'll be reaching out to Pioneer Valley Planning Commission to help finalize things.
We did have an additional appropriation through the town meeting from community preservation money that would help to finalize, assemble, and package the final copies and the drafts to look like this once it's done.
Okay.
So
But once we get it all to bed, there were a couple of things that during discussions and hearings and stuff like that, there seemed to be this theme that came out that registered with me, is that a lot of people, we're not the same community we were 20, 30, 40 years ago.
7 years ago.
All right. There's a lot of people came to hearings, and we started talking about different preserves or recreation areas, and they were, where's that? What's that? Well, is there a porta potty there? When can I go there? Can I bring my dog there? Can you have a picnic there? Things like that. And I think when we get this finally done, I suggested this to the open space planning people, that we have a joint meeting with fire, police, park and rec, and conservation, and sit down and see if we can't develop some sort of uniform signage, some sort of information that could be on the town website, and some sort of
that lists the properties
Right.
in their the facilities each
right,
property has.
and some sort of maybe even some sort of pamphlet or brochure, kind of like the rail trail did for theirs, so that people, if they come to town hall, or they can be passed out at a town meeting or whatever, so people can go explore.
Put them on the rail trail, then that way they can see when they can go off the rail trail to one of these
Right.
other assets.
Even right on the website that you could just click on it.
Right, that, yeah,
You
that
don't
came
have to
up.
Print it, right? you know.
Right, that came up too. And I said that we would work on those things, but I think that would be a good use of community preservation monies for the signage and for any of this other stuff. Because we got thousands of, over 1,000 acres preserved in town, and people should be aware of it. And I mean, we do need the signage. We do need to develop rules and regulations. That came out loud and clear.
Yep.
Because if you don't have rules and regulations, even this past week, I was hearing from one person about some of the problems that one of the preserves of things being broken. And I heard from another person about trash at another.
You'll just need to differentiate who the owner of the land is, because one board may make regulations differently than another board.
Right.
But each one of them has their own legal authority over that.
Right. That's why I think we need to have a
Understood.
joint meeting.
But even just to point them out, like you said, we have over 1,000 acres, multiple millions of dollars invested in these properties to make them available. So, and then once you have the signage as to where it is and the rules around what you can or shouldn't do, you would think, the good neighbor policy is in effect, but can't hurt to remind everyone.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
absolutely.
All right, and the last thing that I have under new business is that there's, rumor has it that we might be in for some sort of award, and there might be if we do get this award, and it'd be a surprise, that there might be an opportunity
There's a song
to
there,
do some advertising to thank people for getting this award. So I was wondering if the board would consider taking money out of our gift account to do a thank you ad if we were lucky enough to get this award. That would be a surprise.
If such a surprise were to happen, I would move that we should do that
I'll second
in the
that.
prescribed amount.
Okay. All right. All in favor? Aye. That was a little tongue-in-cheek, but we're not supposed to announce
Any such award that we.
any such award at this time.
We don't know why.
We gotta wait for.
We don't have to go to Methuen either.
Right.
Okay, Mr. Steinhardt, any other new business?
I believe we should take note that the fire department is in the process of doing the paperwork to receive a FEMA grant award for equipment. And it's in the $30,000 range. I believe the chief had sent us
Yeah.
Yep.
an email along the lines of that, and it's 5% local share, which is about, $1,500 or something like that, so he has the money for that, his local share.
That's very good.
So that is good, but he's still trying to figure out where we stand with the SAFER grant, which is the additional EMT firefighter staff.
Correct.
May.
medic, or paramedic.
Very good.
So, but he's busy, but he's, the chief's slowly coming back, and he's got an event he's gotta go to next week, where our department's one of those departments that's, in line for a major award.
And I probably should mention that the fire department had their 9/11 ceremony, which was very well attended and very well done. I got to give them a lot of credit. They did a great job. Our fire chief that is limited because of his surgery made it there. But our deputy fire chief did an excellent job filling in when Russ couldn't. So it was just a very good program. All right, if there's no other new business, we will be going into executive session not to reconvene. We will be going into executive session regarding Mass General Laws, Chapter Section 30A, Section 21, 2, and 3, Chapter 214, Section 1B, CMR 299.03, parentheses 1, parentheses B, regarding litigation and labor counsel for Police Department IBPO Local 384 negotiations. Let's see, exception 2, move to go into executive session to conduct strategy sessions in preparation for negotiation with union personnel, and 2, not to reconvene in open session. Move to go into executive session to conduct collective bargaining sessions with non-union personnel, 2, not reconvene. Move to go into executive sessions to conduct contract negotiations with non-union personnel, and to not reconvene. Exception 3, move to go into executive session to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining, that the chair declare that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the body, and to not reconvene in open session. Move to go into executive session to discuss strategy with respect to litigation, and that the chair declare that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigation position of the body, and to not reconvene. Chapter 214, Section 1B, a person shall have the right against unreasonable, substantial, or serious interference which is privacy. The Superior Court shall have jurisdiction and equity to enforce such right, and in connection therewith to award damages. Russ Fox, aye.
Doug Mogul, aye.
Joe DDI.
All right.